Welcome back to Tank Time, where I teach you how to lower your score without having to work on your golf swing. On today's agenda, we're going to talk about bunker play, specifically greenside bunkers. I'm going to go through the basics and show you how to play a pretty tricky shot. So what's the difference between a fairway bunker and a greenside bunker? Nothing. Avoid both at all costs. Wrong. A fairway bunker is meant to be penalizing, so we do try to avoid those if possible. But a greenside bunker could actually be a bailout. So if you're going for a par 5 that's kind of tight or has water on a side, you shouldn't be afraid to put your ball in the bunker. Bunker shots shouldn't terrify you. You should actually look forward to them. And hopefully after this episode, you will. If you haven't seen my video on game plan yet, go check it out. And after you've mastered bunker play, you're no longer going to avoid those greenside bunkers in your game plan. So let's start out with the basics. When you hit a bunker shot, you're essentially hitting the sand, and the sand is gonna explode and catapult the ball into the air and onto the green. Same thing as the chipping technique. You want your shoulder and elbow to be connected to your hip, and you want to follow through the ball. You really need to make sure you drive and follow through to get that ball out of the bunker. A lot of mistakes that people make are that they swing with their arms and they get stuck right at impact, like this. You're not generating enough speed for the ball to lift and get out of the bunker. That's why you get stuck in the bunker and then you have to hit 2, 3, 4, or 5 shots in the bunker. So what I want you to remember is to follow through. You want to make sure you're getting your weight onto the left side. You're getting this hip and shoulder turn through the ball. If you're only using your arms, it's really easy for the bottom of your arc to move, and that's how you can hit it thin or fat. How we set up in the bunker, we want to open the club face wide open. We want the bounce and the back of the club to be sitting on the ground. When you're standing square and you open the club, these grooves are now going to point away from you. So we want to adjust the club so that the grooves are pointing straight to your target. I like to set up with the ball closer to the left side of my stance. I want a lifted shot. I don't want a compressed and de-lofted shot. So this is going to be closer to our lofted chip shot. If you haven't seen my videos on the 3 different types of chip shots, go check it out now. Being like the lofted shot, we're going to set up with the ball closer to the front foot. Because the face is open so wide, you're going to drop your right leg back just a little bit so that you can create the club path to allow the ball more lift. We're going to keep our weight on the left side. We're going to see those straight grooves at your target, and you're going to make sure to follow through. It's that easy. When you're setting up for a regular swing, we're looking at a steeper attack angle. We want to compress the ball. But when we're in the bunker, we're not trying to compress the ball. We're trying to hit the sand. When you're in the bunker, we want a shallower attack angle. So when you set up in the bunker, I don't want you setting up like this, as if you were hitting a shot. I want you to set up with your weight a little bit in your heels. When the weight is a little in your heel and you're set up a little more upright, it's gonna allow your swing plane to be a little flatter. Hitting a bunker shot where you don't have to carry as much green is easier than hitting a bunker shot that's 20, 30, 40 yards away with plenty of green to work with. If you have a long distance bunker shot, I don't suggest you taking your lob wedge and hitting it as hard as you can. I suggest you just switching to your gap wedge or even your pitching wedge and hitting the same exact shot but with a different club. Sounds familiar, right? It's the same concept as chipping. Too often, I find players restrict themselves to hitting only the lob wedge or a sand wedge in the bunker. Just because it says sand wedge doesn't mean that's the only place you can use it. Pick your club based on what the shot requires of you. If there's plenty of green to work with, you should use a club with less loft, and that way it'll roll out towards the hole even if you don't hit a great shot. If there's less green to work with, then take a higher lofted wedge. But don't be so stuck on what club you have to use in a bunker. So I'm gonna hit to a pin that's further away with more green to work with. I've got a pitching wedge in my hands. I'm gonna set up and do everything exactly the same way. I'm gonna play for a lower trajectory and more release once the ball hits the ground. And the reason that happens is because you're using a pitching wedge instead of a lob wedge. Makes it so much easier. We don't wanna complicate the game. Club face is open. I square my lines up to the target, drop my foot back just a little bit, weight's in my left leg, and we make the same shot. If you perhaps have gotten the yips from some horrifying bunker experiences, my suggestion is to hit regular bunker shots with your 7-iron. If you can learn how to get the ball high and out of a bunker with a 7-iron, you're not going to have any issues doing it with a lob wedge or a sand wedge. You're going to set up exactly as if you were playing a lofted shot. Because there's not much loft on the club, I'm going to get really low so that I can make a flatter swing. And we're going to practice with this 7-iron until we feel comfortable. You gotta really make sure that you follow through the ball, that you create speed to get that ball out of the bunker. When I was in high school, I got the bunker yips, and I practiced with my 7-iron, my 5-iron, my 4-iron. I practiced with all of the low lofted clubs until bunkers became my bread and butter. Let's try that again. So if you're getting frustrated in the bunker, just remember a good setup and to follow through. All right, the shot we've all been wondering about, the plugged bunker lie. What do we do in this situation? When you're in a plugged bunker lie, you don't want to open the club face. Because when you open the club face and you hit the ground, it's going to cause the club face to flip open even more. And that's not going to get the ball out of its divot. What we actually want to do is hood the club face. You want to set up so the club face is very hooded. And once it makes contact with the sand, it flares the club face open and allows lift to get the ball out of its crevice. What is your goal when you have a plugged bunker lie? Hit it as close as possible so you can get up and down. Wrong. Our goal is just to get the ball out of the bunker. So what you want to do is make sure your legs are stable. You want to de-loft the club, and then we're just going to hack into the wall just under the ball. Just like that. I guarantee you it gets you out of a plugged lie every time. So I've got a stable stance, got my club face shut down. I'm gonna hack it right into the face of the bunker. Every time. Got a good base, got my club face shut down, and I'm gonna hack the wall behind the ball. Every time. Being confident in bunkers is gonna really help improve your game. You're not gonna feel that dread when your ball finds a bunker. You're gonna feel confident and excited. So let's get you good at golf. Stay tuned for my next episode where I show you why it's so important to have a great pre-shot routine.